But had G2...
What a turnaround that's
It was before that game. Had G2 not beaten Dark Zero, they could have tied up. And then what would happen in that situation? It's the same for Group B tomorrow, Des, which is why I explain it, is we look at a head-to-head between all the tied teams. So we basically put them all into sort of like a mini-league and we see how many wins and losses they've had against each other, and that is then how it is graded. So the fact that G2 had beaten both CYCLOPS and Cloud9 meant that they couldn't climb past them. But right now, the fight is on, Des. All that is academic. We are here, we are focused, and this is down to a very, very simple outcome. CYCLOPS win, you stay. Lose, you go home.
What I love is that in every single attacking round BDS have played, they brought along the Nomad here. That being banned away will mean we get to see something a bit new out of them. What is that fifth operator spot going to be filled by? And I was looking back at Nomad on this map a few times over and think about teams like G2 back in the heyday of last year at some point when they were a little bit more competitive than maybe they've been at SI so far. Sometimes the Nomad would be available and they simply wouldn't bother to bring it. Instead positioning it as a, we'd rather than come and try and challenge us on the roam because we are comfortable that we can deal with people pushing up red stairs, for example, to try and catch us. It's not a problem by us. We'll take the gunfights every day of the week. For BDS, a bit of a different story where they rely on it very heavily. So we'll see what that fifth surprising pick may yet develop to be. Interestingly, the Thatcher's often banned away, so it might just slip across to being that. And normally you see things like the Sledge, the Zofia, the Ashe, the Hibana, and the Nomad being their main five. I'm seeing that Ayana coming in. I'm just thinking, are you going to give it to Shaiko at some point? Let's not forget, he had the Ashe banned away against him earlier on at Oregon. He picked up the Ana and discovered what these things called frag grenades are, Tim. Started using them and throwing them at people and realised, wait, I don't have to have, I don't want to say no skill, but less skill than clicking on someone's head in one shot. I can just throw this explosive thing at people and they die when it hits them. What? Because he must have walked away with at least 4 or 5 frag kills in that game.
He certainly took advantage of that fact, didn't he? He went absolutely crazy on the Ana. But he's back to his beloved Ashe for round number 1. Here we're going to be going up to the top floor, and I was talking about top floor to you earlier, Des, and it's a site that surprises me that we see it as the first pick for defenders so often. Inside of EUL and NAL in stage 1, there's only been about a 37% win rate up on the top floor. Yeah. There's only really LATAM that sees a particular lean towards a defender favour up here on the top floor. The mid floors, reading, mining, kitchen on the lower floor all seem to have better outcomes for the defenders.
For a second I thought something more coming out the camera, but all 3 cameras are outside. I mean, okay. I don't know if it was so much targeted thrown there as much as they just throw them everywhere and pray the IQ doesn't pick up every single one. Well, hey, there we go. Black Ray playing on this dock. Ain't sat that one in a good while. Just stepping out to the window and bringing one down. Anderson's found a second. They've got rid of Renshiro and Shaiko. 2 of the best fraggers that BDS have got are already off the field inside the opening 20 seconds. Welcome to the APAC game, boys.
Well, I think Cloud9 will already be sat there thinking, not like this.
He's still at the door. Look at Galarada. He's still there. Like, what's he doing?
CYCLOPS sending a message, and what I love, Des, is what a display this is for the people who are not too familiar with all the APAC teams of just how much skill and ability there is coming out of this region in absolute buckets. CYCLOPS coming in here and really showing what they can do to win those early gunfights, get the peaks and put the pressure on BDS, keep them on the back foot. Right now we've got Brede up onto the rooftop, going to start opening the hatches onto red stairs. He'll no doubt open a new hatch as well. And that's just prepping for later in the round. BDS, they're not going to rush into this nowadays. They're 3 versus 5, still got plenty of time. They need to try and find themselves a cheap kill or 2 if they can, just to level up the numbers. And that's exactly what Alems is going to try to do for the time being, just nading out that popular spot to try and find somebody, but will be unlucky this time.
One thing I want to comment on, actually, Mag, if you're watching somewhere as the 3rd kill comes in, Mag, please go and find the clip of when you scrimmed against the team. You put it on Twitter. Oh my god, that is disgusting. He put it on Twitter and it was basically saying, this is what it's like to scrim in APAC. It's on Clubhouse, 30 seconds in the round, 4 people jump out of windows and doorways. It's absolute chaos. I laughed my head off when I saw it. So please, Mag, if you're here, go find that, retweet it. I want to watch it back later, and the people deserve to see it as well, because this has been a great disruptive round coming out of CYCLOPS, where there's barely been any thinking about the site itself. So much so that Black Cray said, "Yeah, boys, have 20 more HP each, have a bit of overhealing, go running around the map, the three of us will, and we'll go and see if we can get this final kill onto Brede." But you wouldn't guess this is how things are going to play out between BDS and CYCLOPS, especially not in round number 1, Tim. 2 early kills coming off the spawn, 2 more around the map from Gatorado finding some nutty shots, and now potentially another one. What the pistol? What is he doing?
Not only the pistol, Des, but winning on the reverse angle of the hatch there. Just he knew somebody was up. Look,
What's he doing?
That's absolutely beautiful. What a kill coming in there to close the round out. And the thing is, Des, you know, we often have conversation after conversation in the Siege community about the most efficient way to do things, the best way to do things, this strategy, that strategy. And sometimes it is just about doing what wins the round. If something comes in and wins you the round, you know what? I've got to make an argument to say it's gone pretty well.
I say this at least once a broadcast, and I don't think I've said it at all so far this week. I'm quite shocked myself now that I think about it. I always say that Siege is one of those games, and in fact, there were a couple of players and Reaper talking about it on Twitter yesterday, saying something to the effect of, yes, Siege is a game of strategy, and some like to play it like it's a game of chess, that you're coordinating all the pieces around the map into the right positions and taking, you know, things like the pawn takes the rook, the bishop takes the king, whatever else, checkmate. Someone came in and said, no, it's more like pawn kills rook, bishop and king, and it's GG. These things can happen in this game because it's an FPS game at heart. All the gadgets and the clock and everything else that you might do simply serve to give you a better chance of winning those gunfights. At the end of the day, it's whoever clicks on the most heads, gets the diffuser down. They are the kind of rare cases where it's not always down to gunfights, but as long as you can hit big shots like that, then you can absolutely steamroll your way through some teams. CYCLOPS kicking things off with a flawless round and showing that that can work. I imagine now BDS going to be a little more cautious at the start of these rounds to make sure they can at least have 5 men near the building and not struggling to get out of spawn.
Absolutely. I don't think CYCLOPS will get away with that again. I think if they try it, they will lose lives. They're up against some of the best gunners in the game. We're going to be looking this time round 2 down in kitchen for this defence. We've got some heavy presence up on the top floor still though. Gatorado just looking to get the Valkyrie cam out there. Third time lucky, he'll find it, he'll get it out there. It can be difficult if you've only knocked out one barricade. You've got to be careful in those situations as the Valkyrie as well, because obviously you can't stand up because you've knocked the barricade out, so inevitably that can just attract a few bullets, and if you're stood up behind it, whether they mean to or not, sometimes those bullets will find you. But look at this, BDS does getting into Bakery very quickly there and opening up that wall onto the plant spot. There's going to be a lot of pressure. That's 40 seconds into the round. CYCLOPS, they're going to have to absorb an awful lot here.
I feel like there's a lot of abuse coming in without the IQ on side as well. The Yokais and the Black Eyes scattered around the map are going to be trouble. And of course, when Vigil's gadget is active, you can also see that with IQ scanner. So I'm keen to see if BDS take the punt and step away from their tried and tested go-to comp. They like running here, minus the Nomad, of course, and try and bring something along that's going to help them dealing with CYCLOPS' setup. That is, of course, if it proves to be successful, else why bother? Black Ray taken out to start things off by Alem, so a bit more composed from BDS. It's taken them 75 seconds. They've got the Bakery wall open and the opening kill as Evil Eye's now stationary for the rest of the round.
Anaton had managed to keep himself off the radar on red stairs there a little bit, at least in terms of not being spotted out by a drone, but I'm pretty sure that BDS will now be aware of his location, although it doesn't seem like they're applying too much attention. No, he's on the drone. I was going to say they've got a man on the small Bakery window there, but he's not really paying too much attention, so they need to be very careful about exactly where Anaton is. Now, they've got Valkyrie up above as well. Gatorado just looking for a vertical angle, looks away at the wrong time there, so close to getting himself a little peek, but it's Irrigator to open things up. A big double, getting 2 inside of the kitchen. Shaiko will shut down the Vigil. That's Anaton gone. 3 versus 3. Plenty of time still for BDS here as we come into the final 50 seconds.
3 versus 3, and always worrying about these Yokais. In fact, this was the exact example I gave earlier on. This site, we have seen so many interrupts from Yokai drones, both in EUL and here at SI, where you just see them skirting around on the random little like trays or shelves or food carts or whatever else they can find. They'll just hide them away and bring them out in the dying seconds of the round and have an absolutely huge impact. But given by the looks of it, BDS are starting to get the way through prep and a push coming in towards planting out to the left. This shouldn't be too bad, and hey, patience pays off. Gatorado bringing down Renshir as he finds out Irrigator a split second before. 2 versus 2, Tim, and 15 seconds to play.
A great long angle from Gatorado there now. Shaiko, he manages to retrieve retrieve that diffuser, Des. This could be a big coup here from BDS as they start to try and get it down. That's one shot from the Yokai. He's got another stun in him. He's going to have to waste as much time as he can here, but Rafal on great cover there. Manages to find one. Shaiko, Des, but no! Gatorada with a pistol kill to win the round for CYCLOPS. Des, this has already started as a tour de force on Cafe.
Gatorada's styling on kids with that deagle. 2 rounds in a row to close it out. 1 onto Bride, 1 onto Shaiko. That's the kind of thing that goes in a bio on Twitter at some point, if he cares, because I'm sure he's got more to show within this game and in this tournament, because CYCLOPS are making a statement that we're not ready to go home yet. We don't care who you put in front of us. We have been going from strength to strength as the 8-7 defeat, I guess, against Empire earlier on will go to suggest that they are definitely not going to roll over and watch themselves get knocked out in last place. I love it.
What a shot coming in there at the end just to take Shaiko down with the deagle, and CYCLOPS, wow, they are delivering some pure entertainment right now.
He's just rocked up and gone, oh yeah, pea shooter, MPX, now to give me the deagle and watch you run around and one-bang everyone.
Oh, absolutely unbelievable players from CYCLOPS, and I am loving it so far, Des. For me, I said this morning to you, if you remember, we were discussing about G2, and I said about, you know, making an argument for G2 to be sort of deserving of the place, and, you know, it wasn't the easiest argument to make, especially after the performances that we'd seen from CYCLOPS. I said they've come out so strong that it would be a shame after their performances today. Honestly, you know, hand on heart, I can say that CYCLOPS, I feel, deserve a spot in the playoffs, and they really are proving that at the minute with a great opening couple of rounds.
I really don't want either APAC team to go home. Like,
I don't want anybody to go on. Can we just take everybody through?
Just take all 18 teams. We'll fit them in somewhere. I'm sure
just keep playing each
I'm sure there's time in the 12 hours of broadcast today scheduled to include 2 more teams and all the games they'd have to play there somewhere. Absolutely. But looking at this round, the IQ being brought along, LM's dropping the Zofia. Was curious in the last round if they would change their lineup to accommodate the difficulties they were facing against CYCLOPS, and they say absolutely, we can't be dealing with the Vigil, the Yokai drones, and the Black Eyes all absolutely terrorizing us. We need to change that out. Now, fortunately for CYCLOPS, they've not gone for the same sort of setup. They've gone for a couple of changes here, bringing along the Alibi. Kind of interchangeable somewhat with the Frost. Some teams prefer playing with the Frost. Really depends on what you want to get out of the operators that you're bringing along. Both have the secondary to do some soft destruction around the site. Both have relatively decent primaries. Both bring a shield, so on and so forth. I guess in the case of Alibi, she is a 3-speed.
Shaiko just worried me a little bit there, running to the edge of the roof, ADS in. I thought, Shaiko, no, this is not how it's supposed to go. But I don't know if he was maybe pinging something out or just providing a bit of information, seeing exactly what stage of the push his team were up to. Lems has got himself quickly into that ground floor on the IQ. We'll be moving through. We'll have a function of trying to get rid of the electronic gadgets, and I think that's more than likely in response to the amount of Valkyrie play that we've seen here from Gatorada so far. If BDS feel like that additional information that's being gained is being a particular thorn in their side or negative, then of course IQ would be the operator to deal with it. Now, Shaiko just pinging out the deployable shield there on Pixel Corner, just needing that dealt with before they start to push in. There is, of course, a player in there behind it as well. Needed to be cautious that there wasn't ADSs or other devices that may prevent his breaching charge reaching the shield, and he does find the opener onto Anaton.
That's what you want. Nice start to the round, but Gatorada's still alive. We'll keep a close eye on what he can achieve here. Wait till that deagle comes out, and then no one's so bolshy anymore. I think we're looking at both of the team stats, by the way. Both basically bang on 50% attacking win rate on this map, and both in the kind of 60s to 70s range when it comes to the defense. So there's going to be some stat line broken here between those two teams to buck the trend and change things around a little bit. At least in this round, BDS are putting a case to say it's going to be us with our attacking rounds. You got Lem still trying to play on this gadgetry clearing, even if there isn't going to be a Valkyrie present. It's being mindful of where any of these Black Eyes might be. It's caught a couple so far, and a couple of members of CYCLOPS. 2 have gone down. Black Ray steps up to go big. Swings. Oh! Aggressive. Shaiko's been done. He's done that move to people so many times over the last 12 months, and now he's absolutely been ripped raw as Black Ray, with 2 kills, is going to balance things back out into a 3 versus 3. And Rafal's got 1 drone left.
Oof, hits him with the razzle-dazzle up on the top floor, Des. Gives him the juke, sends him one way, pops around the other, and finds a beautiful kill onto CYCLOPS to level things out. But there is still a bit of time for BDS here. 20 seconds. They do need to get a move on, but it can be done. 3 versus 3. Gatorada finds the last drone. Now BDS are without information. They need to go with what they know. Gatorada, he looks to move around and what a kill onto a fall. His game just continues going from strength to strength right now, Des. But BDS have got in there and got the diffuser down. It's all on Renshiro. 1 versus 3. He has the high ground, Des. He finds 1. He needs 2 more. Gatorada, I think, just tickles the diffuser there, but backs away from it. He's going again. Right now, they're just trying to bait out Renshiro. They've got a man moving upstairs. Gatorada again, Des, finds that essential kill and dives on to disable the diffuser. And CYCLOPS, they are fighting for their very lives.
Feels like it's more Gatorada at the minute than the whole team, but there is team effort, of course, involved. But he's on 8 kills straight, Tim, without a death. Who was it who was celebrating yesterday? I think it was Fultz in their game against Parabellum. 9 kills back-to-back, an ace into a 4K. Well, how about doing it across 3 rounds? 3 opportunities to die for Gatorada, but instead, he's coming up absolutely massive. 3 rounds straight for CYCLOPS. I wonder if that sweat dripping off the brow of Cloud9 has turned into a waterfall yet, Tim, because if I were them, it damn well would be.
Interestingly, CYCLOPS, Des, have only had 1 opening kill as well, and that was back in round number 1. So round 2 and 3 was BDS opening up with that initial frag, and then CYCLOPS, they're not worried about a man disadvantage. Quite happy to just get themselves back involved and back on top, and that is where they stand at the minute. Right now, they are wailing on BDS. They are just connecting with every punch they throw.
Someone needs to tell Cloud9 the secret. Opening death equals round win. Opening kill equals round loss. And if you're not quite sure what we're referring to here, for Cloud9, they've been high 20s on entry, way ahead of any other team. I think coming into today, they had 3 players who were +8 on entry. It was absolutely ludicrous. But their history of losing rounds late on has punished them time and time again. And speaking about punishment in this round, Ace, the Black Eyes and the Yokai drones are back, but the IQ has been removed once more. This might come back to sting them yet again.
Certainly might. It's no surprise to see Gatorada sticking with the Valkyrie round after round at the minute, even if it's just to stick with the same guns. I don't want to change the recoil patterns on this guy because he is finding kill after kill right now. Absolutely unstoppable.
Oh, the Yokai on the window.
As you say, 8 without response. That could well beat the 9 that we saw from Fultz. We'll see how that goes. I can't say that that's a definitive stat, Des. I haven't watched specifically through the SI to see how many kills we've had as a max without response, but I think Fultz's 9 has certainly got to be making a challenge for it now. Gatorada, he looks for the opener, doesn't find it, trades damage there as Shaiko does take some, finished off by Airgator, and once again, Des, CYCLOPS have themselves an advantage here. It is now only 40 seconds into the round, and Shaiko is gone.
I'm pretty sure that was a jump up from Irrigator as well. Diving out to the left-hand side, killing someone on the fadeaway as he dropped down outside Bakery and then rotated back inside. Here he is now downstairs after his successful escapade. It just feels like aggression is the way to go for some teams. We spoke about a couple who had 0 disruption in their defensive gameplay, but for CYCLOPS, it is shining. 2 spawn peaks in the first round here, being an absolute nightmare as well. Gatorada charging around the map like he owns the shop, and he may as well do it this rate because they are slapping BDS away constantly. Nice shot from Alems, getting tagged from a couple of other angles, but doesn't find himself going down. That's 2 for BDS, and now that they've got a little bit of composure, they've dealt with the smoke, but there's one behind. It's Irrigator holding on the near side. Will he get sprayed through this wall? He doesn't know where the man is, so can't finish him off. He could use him as bait here if he wants to. Instead, going to step round and complete the kill. That's 2 kills back for CYCLOPS. So while it was a 4 versus 3 for BDS, now it's a 3 versus 2 for CYCLOPS.
Unfortunate for Alems there. He had a great passage of play where he went in, got both Yokais and the kill. And now Brede manages to get in, get aggressive, 2 kills and starts to put the diffuser down. But guess who's left, Des? It's Gatorada. How many times have we seen this so far today? He's looking to close this out, but no, not this time. Brede finds the kill, and that is going to end his streak of 8 as he gets shut down on the top floor. And BDS, they managed to get their first round on the board here. 3-1 now to CYCLOPS.
I think a degree of over-communication or confusion there for Gatorada when you've got the yellow pings coming through. Oh, this guy's peeking you, he's peeking you. Oh, no, but the guy's to my right and he's just put the diffuser down, he's going to swing me. No, but this guy's over here on the yellow ping again. It can get a little bit confusing, a little bit erratic, no doubt. Unfortunately, can't really do much in that 1 versus 2. Ends up facing off against B-Day with that 3-Day without his ADS even held to his face. Unfortunate. We go back downstairs then, kitchen and service, and the IQ is being rocked by BDS. Now to be changed away. The only way this could get any better is if CYCLOPS 6 picked in an Echo. But I'm seeing a Ying, I'm seeing the Decay coming out, Ace, and I'm straight away thinking this is where it could come to hurt, because this to me just screams they want to go for an all-or-nothing execute here and make CYCLOPS pay with a bit of pace coming out of BDS that so far has been afforded only to CYCLOPS.
It'll be interesting to see. And right now we have an Echo on board. Once again, he's going to just reinforce up that garage wall this time around and just prevent any sort of quick entry coming in through there. I'll be interested to see exactly what gets done with Freezer Wall. That may signal that they're going for a really high line of defence stairs where they try to prevent any access into the bottom of White Stairs. They've reinforced half of the wall but left half open, so certainly something that they need to be careful of there, because of course if BDS get access to that area, they now just have an absolute free entrance into sight, and open the hatch as well.
He's got the shotgun, Ace.
There's gonna need to
of course he has.
There's gonna need to be a very focused hold over towards those White Stairs.
Is it silenced as well? I think it is.
The only way.
We've had a couple of teams that like to spam shotguns across a whole team, but I don't quite know about to this level. Let's see if it pays off for Suzuki. It's all good if you're just holding, being static and playing on those Yokais. I'm not sure. Fingers crossed, but time will tell. I'm keeping a really close eye on Rafael this round, though. Again, as I mentioned, I think there's going to be some kind of bus coming in here. They just want to go chucking in with the smokes, with the candelas, and make a play happen off the back of that, because right now, they're being torn apart when trying to clear the map. The best way to avoid that, just go straight for the site.
We could see there, just over at the far side of the map where Alems is working, there was just CYCLOPS stacked up, one on each level, one on the lower floor, one on the mid floor, one on the top floor. So they are looking to challenge BDS at every possible opportunity here, which fits with what they've done so far. And it's players like this, Anaton on the windows, getting aggressive, getting right up in the face of BDS and just not letting them settle at all. Now BlackRay, he's looking to make a challenge on to the bakery kitchen there, just looking to peek out. He knows that there's the potential for them to try and push in here, and BDS is certainly thinking about it. There we go, we've got the Ying just peeking in. We've got the Hibana opening the wall. This could be a very quick push coming in here, Des. We can see a BDS drone just absolutely tearing around inside a site there, not being taken out. But it doesn't matter that they're ignoring the drones, Des. They're only ignoring them to find men. 5 versus 3 after 2 quick kills.
They've just completely bailed on the site. As soon as they saw that smoke come in, they were like, nah, fam. I'm out of here, got off site and looked to play instead off red stairs with the holes that have been opened up through the red wall, so they could see if there was a push coming in from prep, it was going to be clear as day what was going on. Now, unfortunately, with Rafael going down, they've made use of the candelas that they had in pocket. The ones that were left over, gone, scattered to the winds. They have nothing really left in the way of utility outside of a few flashes and frags. They're going to have to make this work in a 3 versus 5, and they've got 50 seconds to make it play.
It's not going to be easy, Des. There's no two ways about that. Now, Suzuki, he's just relocating one of those yokai drones. I think he's just lost it there, but does ping out a man. BlackRay will manage to get a kill onto Alems, and that leaves us in an even more desperate position for BDS here. 35 seconds left to go, and Renshiro's looking to push in towards site. Des, there's still deployable shields there. There's still utility. Renshiro, he has the nades to deal with that, but with only 25 seconds left to go, it is not going to be easy if they're still having to deal with utility. Renshiro knows that there's a man out on the red stairs. There's 2 there now. He's going to find himself getting challenged if he's not careful, and there it comes. Gatarada once again with another important kill. He is really dragging CYCLOPS towards the playoffs, Des, and they are doing it.
I think production decided we need a partial mute to hide away the sounds of the screams from the BDS players, the slaughter that is taking place on Cafe. 2 flawless rounds in the first half. This has been brutal. BDS do not look like a team that you would say are contesting for the world title right here. CYCLOPS are making them play their game. And even when BDS decided to say, forget about trying to play on their own, forget about contesting the roamers around the map, let's just go straight for site. Open up bakery, we've got the candelas, we've got the smokes. It's almost like CYCLOPS are around ahead. They know what's coming, they have the long angles coming in from red stairs, and they just completely shut it down. This doesn't look like a team that has looked shaky on past days, hasn't been #1 in APAC North. They are looking like a team that is ready to compete on the international stage, and you're starting to see, I think, why it was so close against Empire earlier on today.
They really have, and as I've said, Des, coming into this, I'm loving that CYCLOPS have shown up on the last day of their group stages, because what a great advert this is for APAC. This is the quality of Siege that we see out of these teams week after week after week, casting it.
Let's not definitely take this away, by the way. Some APAC games, messy as hell.
Can be.
Ridiculously messy, chaotic, and sometimes questionable, but never short on entertainment value. Let's see if CYCLOPS can do anything else off the back of this one, though. It is 4-1, so BDS, they've got something going for them. It's still not looking fantastic. If they can get a second attacking round here, maybe you forgive them for their sins.
The setup is almost complete then, as we move 15 seconds into the action phase. The site will be reading room and dining, so it's the last defensive round for CYCLOPS here. And I tell you what, Des, if they can close this out at 5-1 on the half, that is just absolute madness coming in. I think there's going to be a few people sweating channel points at this point, if I'm honest.
Let's look at the breakdown, shall we? I always love doing this, just to see how badly people are torturing themselves. Where is the breakdown for it?
Renshiro looking to apply a little bit of pressure from the skylight. He's going to get on the drone as well, start feeding some information. BDS, they're going to be looking for top floor control, and that's exactly what Shaiko's doing, going in there like a heat-seeking missile at the minute, but being challenged from underneath as well, and that shows great teamwork to me coming in from CYCLOPS there. A man is challenged at Pixel, and immediately there is a man underneath, just, even though it's blind firing, just sending bullets up through that floor towards the double door. That'll slow Shaiko down, and it certainly does.
I thought maybe we'd see something happen off the back of the C4 there, but I don't know if he tagged him correctly or just wasn't sure or didn't want to commit. Either way, doesn't go for the commit. Alem's finding the opening kill. Again, a small bit of solace coming in for BDS, but like you commented earlier, Ace, they are finding the majority of opening kills. It's the conversion into round wins that appears to be the problem. It's the curse ensured or guaranteed by these APAC teams when you step onto the field against them. A second one for Alems. He ain't messing around. They've got this top floor control. Anaton with one back, and they want to go aggressive. What is that shot into Brede? One back from Renshiro. 3 versus 2. You're starting to think again, can CYCLOPS bring this back over the line, and will BDS find themselves down 5-1 at the half?
How many more of those moments can CYCLOPS have where one of their players steps up and just plays the hero, Des, just steps out and gets a big 2K at an important moment? This time it was Anaton, and right now it's 2 versus 2 as Ayagator finds one with the shotgun, challenged on the white stairs. He's going to dip away, he's going to live to fight another day. He's with the mute, he's underneath, and he's just going to try to rotate around and get himself back into the fight. His nitro is already expended, so he can't do any fighting vertically from underneath. He can blast out with the shotgun and try to find a man or two, but right now Suzuki, he's locked deep in dining. He knows he can't push forward to challenge into reading, and BDS, they're not a million miles away of Des from being able to try and get this diffuser down.
Renshiro, if he hadn't fired his gun, they may have been able to catch them out. They may have heard the drop, I'm not too sure, but a plant is going down. Ayagator's got to get aggressive here. They've got pings helping them out. He doesn't even know it's behind him. How do you miss that? That was the freest shot in the world, Suzuki. How on earth have you thrown that one up the wall?
He is going to see that in his nightmares tonight, Des. And what a response from Shaiko. Flips 180, hits him with the turn and burn and finds the kill.
Oh
and
my
that is
God.
Great composure from Shaiko.
Shaiko just acting like he's something out of the Matrix there, dodging a whole butt shell of shotgun shells raining in towards him after his teammate wasn't so fortunate. Look at it! Oh, how wasn't he dead? That is heartbreaking. But it's a round regardless, Tim. It's 4-2 to CYCLOPS, and now we switch sides. I wanted to comment in the middle of that round. You could see how both staircases, we even saw it on screen because the players of CYCLOPS were so hungry to push up those staircases. Both had claymores down on them. I genuinely think that BDS just feel a bit lost without that Nomad protecting the flanks, making sure that CYCLOPS can't run amok among them. It's proving to be such an issue. And so in my mind, teams will look at this for playoffs, and if they know they're going to Cafe against BDS, I can near on guarantee you that unless that team plays Nomad an absolute ton themselves, 100% as BDS have, you're going to see it banned away.
Interesting couple of rounds coming up then as Cyclops move on to the attack. There's 4-2. They've managed to get themselves a lead, but that has been purely on the defense. We haven't seen them come in and take the initiative as the attackers just yet. So if BDS can get the next couple of rounds locked out on the defense, then you start worrying for Cyclops a little bit. But Cyclops, they need to send a message here. They need to just get Gatarada in there. He's finding kills for fun right now. Get him involved from the beginning on that Iana and just let him go wild. Let him get those kills and get the round on the board for you.
They're expecting some kind of smoke play, and they'll be correct here with the Warden being brought along by Renshiro. It gives them 2 shields, make it 3 actually, looking down the whole lineup. They're really looking to dig themselves in deep, and this setup that they have got inside of storage at the center of your screen right now is as BDS as it comes. They love having the left wall reinforced, the right one left soft and open up like this, and then a shield put inside it to set up what we were describing the other day as a makeshift mirror shield to give you that visibility, or mirror window, sorry, looking into all of Piano. If the attackers try and take control of it, you can stand up and just pop them in the head, back down below the shield you go, and it's no problem. It's a really good way to slow the attackers down and to not give them instant west side control. I wonder though, with Suzuki being on the Jackal, if their goal first and foremost is going to be to come from elsewhere on the map and try and find out if there are any roamers for BDS. BDS historically, not a super strong roaming team. It's not really in their play style.
Gatarada straight up onto the rappel, onto the cocktail balcony window there. Tries to put in a nade to clear out some utility, but will lose both of them to the ADSs that are there. We can see that we've got Renshiro just playing up on top of that small bar for the time being. That's just to prevent anybody using nades or explosives from underneath to try and attack him that way. It just keeps him a little bit safer here. Gator's going to drop down there. He's going to be challenged on the short angle though, and Alems, he manages to find the kill with the shotgun, and BDS, they've started out well. There's halfway in, 5 versus 4, and looking pretty solid.
They had a drone sat right in front of Alems there, so I'm surprised the call didn't come in of, oh, he's pushing you, or oh, there's a guy with a shotgun. He looks very scary and he's walking straight at the doorway. Hopefully, you get yourself down red stairs before he steps in for the challenge. Because at this point, Alems is holding them hostage at the top of the red hatch. They come dropping in there. They'll be on the back end of the shotgun. Alems will be finding himself more kills in the round, but at the minute, he's got to do it all solo is the problem. Right play by Cyclops to get alternative angles posed to try and trap him down, and there we go. He will finally get picked off by Suzuki.
Jackal there just applying the Inox scanner for a second to see if any footprints were present. Won't get any, so tries to move in with his vision unhindered. Now Black Ray joining in as well, and the push starting to get a little bit more aggressive now as the smoke grenade goes out. I don't think there's going to be an attempt just yet to try and put the diffuser down, but Renshiro will activate those glasses on the Warden so that he can see through that smoke and take pot shots to his heart's content. Now just holding down a really tight pixel peek onto that door. He just puts bullets through. It's going to be Shaiko ultimately that finds the kill onto Suzuki, but Anaton, he manages to get one of his own onto Rafal by dropping Skylight. As you're right, Renshiro, however, nice and easy for him. He finds 2. If he doesn't run out of bullets, he probably finds 3. He switches to the pistol, but Burita is going to beat him to it.
Well, shown by the Observer as well. Not sure if it's Medics or Easy. We'll find out soon, no doubt. They'll always love to pop up when we start asking these questions. But Renshiro there in such a power position. And I thought when that guy dropped down through Scarlet was pushing him towards him, we were going to see him have his head taken clean off. But he wins that fight, turns towards the new hatch and gets the down there as well. Or towards the new balcony, sorry. Downs the player pushing from there. And the team then collapsed from there and closed the round out. Really good round from BDS. And it looks like with it being at 4-3, this might be a bit more competitive than we first gambled on. Good first round for BDS there on the defence. Looking very solid. Reading Room is going to be their next location as we come into round number 8. They're going to have the Valkyrie along. It's certainly something that they suffered 2 days, so they're going to take full advantage of the opportunity to have those cams out in the map. Also going to have Renshiro on the Mozzie as well, so looking for some area denial of those drones, maybe even capture 1 or 2 and use them against the attackers. But this is a key round for Cyclops in my mind, as this is make or break for them now. If BDS level this up on the defence, they've also got Kitchen to go to. So then you start thinking, actually, I can see a timeline here where they take the lead. And at that point, they only need 2 more rounds. If they get themselves onto 5, they need 2 more. So even if they don't manage to defend that difficult top floor, they've still got Reading, they've still got Kitchen to go at again. So for me, Cyclops really need to find their attacking round here. I really don't want another heartbreak where an APAT team gets to like 6 rounds, for example. You're like, oh, they can do this, or get to 5 rounds, and it's like, wow, they might actually go on to win this. and then their opponent goes on to win 7-5, or it goes through to overtime. It's happened to Cloud9, I think, 3 times today. They were 7-5 in their first game of the day, overtime for the next couple, or 7-5 in the mix there somewhere. I can't quite remember the second game, to be completely honest with you, without looking. But either way, it has been really close for both of these teams in their games. We spoke already about CYCLOPS losing on this map 8-7 to Empire earlier on. The world beaters joystick has been revived from the dead, it feels like, and suddenly is having a profound impact again. And if these boys can bring them that close to the wire, what does that say for playoffs next week?
Rafal just holding down the white stairs for the time being with the Aruni, just trying to prevent too much access down to that far side of the dining room, whilst CYCLOPS are largely focusing up on the top floor here. Out go the drones to try and gather the information. Will pick up the sort of white resonance that suggests Shaiko's presence there. He's just moving around the map on the roam, trying to cause a nuisance. He's currently holding himself on the new balcony under new hatch, just waiting for any challenge to come into him, trying to get himself a nice early pick, looking to challenge every angle at the minute, but he's aware that it's still very vertical. Oh! What about that, Des? Anaton comes in and just dumps an explosive right on top of him, perfectly cooked, no opportunity for Shaiko to move, and that's going to be the opener.
This is the danger. You don't have a Jaeger here in this lineup. You're relying almost exclusively on the Aruni to be catching utility for you, sorry. You've got 4 frags, you've got the breaching rounds, you've got the impacts. There's so much that CYCLOPS can use here without barely having to take a gunfight against a member of BDS. If they can collect a second kill with a frag grenade here, it is hard to get the information to know where to throw them because of the mute and the Mozzie. This could just propel them into a 5 versus 3, and before you know it, you're asking the question around how on earth do they hold on? Another grenade comes singing in as the impact also flies over the top from the Zofia. No one being damaged off by the back of it, mind you. So for BDS, it's a momentary pause. Hold tight here until we know more around what's going on.
CYCLOPS looking fairly confident that they've got at least a majority of the top floor under their possession, and that will be that as Rafal decides to dip away and Renshiro goes with him. Now there's the challenge. Blackray almost getting caught out there by Renshiro, but does manage to react quick enough and get the kill. Gatarada just spraying in through soft walls there, but will not be able to find his man. 4 versus 3. Time is going to be the enemy possibly here for CYCLOPS. They've got 30 seconds left to make something happen.
They've got the Gemini clone pushing in through the reading door, I think, if nothing else, to burn through the laser gate, but also, no doubt, to feed a little bit of information back and forth. It's looking to be a default plan coming out. There are no C4s remaining. They're throwing a frag grenade in to try and waste some time, but with the black eye there, they know that they can get pre-fired, and that's exactly what Rafal's going to do. Spray the default spot, loses out the gunfight against the Iana straight after. It's a 1 versus 2, but Alem's in behind. He gets 1, he gets 2. Alem's has done it all for a second. It looked like Gatarada might find that kill.
Absolute madness ensuing at the end of the round there, and Alem's able to just settle things down for BDS and level up the score. That brings us 4-4 now, and we have got a game on our hands. Cloud9 are somewhere, Des, breathing a bit of a sigh of relief here after these rounds have come in for BDS, because it looked at a point like CYCLOPS might just run away with things, but as I suggested, after that side switch, it was all about CYCLOPS' performance on the attack, and so far they haven't been as effective as they were on the defense.
Didn't know Cloud9 are religious, to be honest to you. I've heard they founded the Church of Alems recently. They are on their knees, hands together. They are praying that he carries on working the magic that he has been in this game so far. It's hardly been a one-man effort, but work is absolutely being put into the stage that there has been a tactical timeout caused by CYCLOPS. They want a bit of a conversation around how they've let it come back to this point. Those first 4 rounds, so dominant. Admittedly, off the back of Gatarada doing a lot of work. And here they're probably sweating a bit, thinking, well, whatever we've done so far, it hasn't worked. BDS have switched on, Alems especially, and Renshiro, with some godly work, is keeping them in this game.
We're going to be heading into round 9 momentarily then, as soon as this tactical timeout is over. CYCLOPS, I think it's well timed, just deciding that they need to slow things down here. They need to have a think about exactly what is happening on the attack and what is going wrong for them, why they've not been able to pick up a round so far. But the problem is, as I've said, it's the site rotation now is almost working against them. We're going down to a defence of what we would argue is probably one of the strongest defensive sites on the map in Kitchen, and so So BDS here have the opportunity to take the lead, and then they only need 2 more rounds, so they can even afford to take a loss somewhere out of their 3-round rotation. Not the end of the world for them. So CYCLOPS, they are backs to the wall down as they have got 4 rounds. They've got 4 rounds to save their place inside of the Six Invitational 2021. Just in case you've joined after the beginning, after we warmed everything up here, the stakes here for CYCLOPS are as big as they come. They are as high as they get. This is for their position in the Six Invitational. Win, they go through to the playoffs, and Cloud9, they will be eliminated. Lose, and it will be CYCLOPS going home.
A lot of information being brought along by BDS on this setup, as well as potentially a slight extended hold inside of Bakery, given the ADSs are being dropped down here, and there is an Evil Eye for a little bit of assistance. I'm looking across the rest of the lineup, though, towards the Pulse, towards the Yokais, towards those Evil Eyes. That is a big-time information game. So for them, I think protecting that utility is going to be invaluable from the shock drones that are no doubt going to come singing in from Aniton. As long as they catch out where they are and destroy them in quick time, no concern. But if they get rid of a couple of them, suddenly you start wondering, okay, well, how are we going to save ourselves when it comes round to the execute? Those Yokais, I'm always talking about them. Let's keep a close eye on them as the round progresses.
Suzuki just spots out the man in the side of VIP there. It was a reasonable guess to suggest that there may be somebody from BDS playing in that location. It is Breedy. He's going to have the deployable shield and plenty of utility to try and keep him safe. But Blackray, he will try to push from one side while somebody works from the other, no doubt. We can see there pressure applied to that VIP window, and Shaiko decides to just relocate himself. He does swing onto Iagator, but will be shut down by the man moving into Wedding there, and Renshiro, he's going to find one onto Gatorada, just leveling things out, and that's not what CYCLOPS needed, Des. They needed to take advantage there while they have the extra man and just try to double down and get things even more in their favour, but it is out comes the Nitro from the Pulse, just managing to get away from that one in time. I think it might have actually been shot out. Either
no, it was stuck on the wall. It didn't go through the hole.
It's either not been detonated or has been shot out, but for the time being, a little bit of a lull. 1 minute 30, here goes Breedy, tries to get aggressive onto White Stairs. He's going to be forced to dip away, but he takes a lot of HP with him.
Blackray as well, he's down to about 5, both kind of saying, yep, fair play, a lot of damage done there. I'm bleeding from seemingly every orifice. Let's back away and save it for a little bit longer. No doubt they'll be looking to scrap again very soon, as they need control of VIP if they're going to make this push work, especially if you're thinking about a 5-place drop. But given the pressure they had earlier on, that might not be the play just yet. More of these smoke cannons are starting to ring out, so the delay tactics are in full effect, but you can hear those ADSs being eaten, being consumed by the grenades as they sing in towards Breedy's location. He has 1 smoke canister left, and is still, they're trying to kill him with the Twitch drones, I think, but it doesn't do so much damage anymore. Suzuki, though, rides on the confusion of being shocked by a Twitch drone, collects the kill. That's now a 3 versus 3 with 35 seconds to play, but Tim, all of those Intel operators, including the Evil Eye user in Maestro, are still on the field.
So it's getting very one-sided as this push from CYCLOPS right now, Des. They're being shut down at the double door. Renshiro finds his 3rd on the round. Lems finishes things off with the Outer, and that's going to be BDS locking down round 9. CYCLOPS, I'm sorry to say it, Des, they're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not looking so good. When you know it's at 5 and 4, it hasn't been 5 rounds back to back, but they have all been in close proximity to one another. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th in a row now for BDS 2. You start asking questions again of what can we change, because BDS are adapting as fast as we can keep up, and oddly enough, that was the story in the first 4 rounds. When it was CYCLOPS the ones who were running around the map like mental, BDS, despite the claymores they were bringing along, just couldn't contain the threat coming from them, couldn't deal with the pace coming out of the APAC side, but now the game has worn on, BDS have warmed up. It does feel like they're in a prime position to take this game away, and sadly CYCLOPS will be setting sail to return to Japan in the next 48 hours unless they can turn this around.
Heading back up to the top floor, it will be for BDS. We saw them defend here to kick things off in round 7. And they won it as Hilem's got them the opening kill, and it was fairly convincing. If you remember, it was as if CYCLOPS didn't really have too much of a handle on where everybody was playing, particularly Hilem's inside a cigar. He was able to just aggress with the shotgun quite easily. Rafal's brought the clash.
Yeah, this is their bully
Things are just getting no easier for CYCLOPS here.
Yeah, this is what BDS have done when they really want to make a team feel bad and frustrated and want to quit playing Rainbow Six Siege. They just bring along the clash. They've done it a few times so far throughout groups. And I just worry here that knowing CYCLOPS like this much faster paced game and being aggressive, this is just going to slow them down and frustrate the living hell out of them.
Well, we saw that nasty kill from Shaiko as well, if you remember. That was on Cafe, I think, top floor. We had Rafal on Pixel Door and Shaiko just playing in behind him and taking the quick peek from out of the side of the shield, and he got an absolute beauty of a one-tap onto a man on the rappel. So they are just so good at using this clash, Des. As you've said, we've seen it a few times. They just have Rafal just marching towards people, giving pinpoint call-outs, and then his team are just able to pick them off one after another from behind the safety.
Tiki.
Yeah,
lean to the left, bang onto the guy on window, and it was like, oh, that is the naughtiest shot that we've seen in all the groups. Filthy. Oh.
30 seconds into the round then, we've still got some setup going on for BDS. We've got Elems playing underneath. He's one to watch as the round goes on. We'll have a nitro in hand on the Valkyrie. He's going to try and keep himself down there to potentially play for a vertical denial or a late flank. He's going to now just escape down to the bottom of White Stairs, keep himself even safer as CYCLOPS, they all gather up on the rooftop to start opening the hatches and trying to apply a little bit of vertical pressure from that skylight as well, no doubt.
Absolutely, just take your time on this one. I think for a while they were going for an east take, but as soon as all the attention from BDS got moved to looking that way, it was a question mark of should we be doing this? Gadarada feels like he's just done a smash and grab job there, bringing down Renshiro after peeking through the window. 5 versus 4, and it's the Warden that has been removed. Now, they've got no smokes to play behind this time. They have got the 3 Claymores, so taking a note from their own play style, no doubt, in the first half, and saying, yeah, we need to control the more aggressive members of BDS, but like I commented earlier on, they're not the most aggressive roaming team. They're not going to get out in the map with 2 or 3 members and look to cause absolute chaos. Sure, they'll go for things on a reading defense like holding upstairs to begin with and then dropping down, but it's nothing that you really have to worry about in terms of late round flanks coming upstairs. They don't really play that sort of style. They'd rather plant their feet and gun you down as you try and push towards the site. Oh, it's this again. They're stacking up together. It's the clash and the Shaiko on Pixel. That's where he hit the God shot, not just a couple of days ago.
We've certainly seen it before, and it's something that CYCLOPS definitely do not want to play into. They need to stay as far away from that action as possible. Shaiko, he is going to just rotate away. He knows that there's nothing to be done out on that west side, so he's going to move across to support the defence of the east balcony, just taking drones out for the time being. Elems, he was underneath, as I called him with the nitro. He's not been picked up, Des, and he finds himself a vertical kill onto CYCLOPS. Breeder, he's had a great game quite quietly so far. Gets a kill onto Black Ray, but is traded out by Suzuki, leaving us 3 versus 3. And Suzuki, he starts to get the plant down. He's got Gatarada on the cover, very importantly. He's surely going to be successful. He does manage to close it down. The clash is dealt with. This is all up to Elems right now. This should be a CYCLOPS round as he manages to run out and find one. 35 seconds left to go and 2 kills needed.
Suzuki on the triple in the round. It's all down to Elems again. How much work has the man got to do in one game, it starts to feel like here. Almost in a near identical to position to where we saw Gadarada back in the first half. He's got it all to do. A man coming in behind him, a man inside a bar. He's got 15 seconds, no idea where to look, and he'll give Suzuki the quad in the round. CYCLOPS bring it back up to 5 and 5. What is it with us and overtime games? We're not there yet, but we are very fast careering towards it, Ace.
Well, Boxy did the stats for us, Des.
He did.
He did the stats for us, and I think our average game was 12.6 rounds.
Yep.
So our average game throughout SI has actually been into overtime, even when you include the games that didn't go to overtime. We just seem to attract them. But the beauty of it is, Des, that we also attract the excitement and entertainment along with it, and that is what CYCLOPS and BDS are delivering right now. There's one guarantee here, and that is that we are heading to 12 rounds. We are going the distance of regulation time as an absolute minimum here. Only one team is going to get the opportunity to close it out inside those 12 rounds. There will be one match point opportunity, and the team that will be afforded that will be decided here in the next 3 minutes.
Alrighty, we're going back to the comp we saw a couple of rounds back. Lining more up towards playing with the Vigil, the Mute and the Mozzie, all about the information denial game. On the other side, for CYCLOPS, we at least have the Iana who can help a little bit on that front. Of course, can't run through Mute Jam as her gadget is disrupted by that, but you've also got the IQ. So Aniton able to use that for a little bit of shot calling for the team on locations of individuals, especially that Vigil. Once he popped on the shield or whatever else you want to call it, once that's online, you can see that very clearly with the IQ. And if he is looking to cause trouble around the map, can get himself found out. We'll see what effects it has. Otherwise, leaning in towards the Valkyrie and the Aruni to round out the setup they're bringing along.
Gatorada just firing some bullets from range in through the dining window there to see if he can catch out a man. It looks like he's had a Z ping there of a location, but for the time being he won't find anybody as CYCLOPS moved away. Damage has been done to him though, he's down to about half health, so needs to just bear that in mind as he roams around the map here. He's going to get himself back up to the top floor. He was taken out quite quickly when defending this site last time. We saw the nade come in, even though he was on the vigil, he'd obviously been located very well, and there was a pinpoint explosive came in and took him out.
And peaks will start with no spawn peaks, as you probably imagine coming out of BDS. Not quite the same sort of setup as what we saw coming out of CYCLOPS previously. You can see there with the electronic scanner coming out, they've got all the information they might need in terms of what's where, in terms of setup. Doesn't necessarily show them where the Valkyrie is. Alems, the opening kill, 12 kills now in the game, has now surpassed Gatorada's 11. Albeit most of those coming in the first 3 rounds. He was at 9 after 3 rounds, I believe it was, putting an absolute shift, and since then has felt pretty quiet while the rest of his team has started to pick up the slack. Suzuki especially helped along by the quad that he got in the previous round.
Still 5 versus 4 as we come towards the halfway point there. Suzuki just looking for a long angle across Piano. They know that there's work to do up on that top floor, Des, and right now Anaton and Blackray, they're in there with the IQ and Ash trying to clear out BDS, but here we go. Ayagator, he knows that there's one inside the train and he finds Alems nice and easy. Alems sat on the cams there completely unaware. He thought he was safe, but he wasn't. He'd been picked up on a drone and that levels things up. 4 versus 4, Ayagator back on the drone once again. CYCLOPS really just getting every drop of information they can out of those gadgets so they can go in there informed and take those challenges to their advantage.
I like how the response straight after getting that kill is not to press on and find more kills, but to get off, get on the drones and see what else we can find. They're almost looking to try and ignore, I think, reading and look towards Fireplace as the go-to plant point. They've got some pressure coming down White Stairs, they've got presence in Train 2. They're the 2 sides that they need to really make this happen. All they'll have to be mindful of is any walls that have been opened up leading in towards reading, so the players from there could come and contest quite easily. Without them, or with someone looking to restrict from above, as it looks like they're starting to set up now, that's when they could do some damage. C4 from Renshiro, 3 versus 3 ace with 30 seconds to play.
As I've no idea which way this game is going to go. It is on an absolute knife edge right now, and Des, talking of edges, you know where I'm sat. I'm right on the edge of my seat with this one. 20 seconds left to go. 3 versus 3, CYCLOPS, they need to start finding kills to have any opportunity to get this diffuser down. Suzuki is on the mid floor. There is a quick trade coming out there. Ayagator and Renshiro. Rafal gets himself a second onto Blackray, and that is going to be the round done for BDS. Preday closes it out. It was all a flurry in the final 15 seconds, but it's the French team that come out superior, Des, and they get themselves that match point opportunity. This could mean heartbreak for CYCLOPS.
Oh, imagine coming this close as well. In the same day, 8-7 against Empire in this map, and potentially 7-5 against BDS. But the one thing is for sure, if they do go home after this round, they can hold their heads high. I think both teams from APAC have put on one hell of a show at points throughout. This Giants, of course, in the group, but looking more specifically towards CYCLOPS and Cloud9, they've put on some excellent shows and definitely lit up the stats numbers when you look at the entry numbers again for Cloud9. But let's not pretend that it's over until it is well and truly over. There is still this round to play. That Jackal being changed away into a Thatcher. Thought we might see something a bit more exciting coming out there, but instead, it's good old trusty Thatcher, and on the other side, it's the Yokai stepping away to be replaced by the Magnets from the Wamai.
This is it, CYCLOPS. It's now or never at this point, and as you said, as for it to come down to 1 round, for it to be so close, is an absolute agonising situation for them to be in, but I'm sure the focus right now is going to be on winning at 1 round. It's here, it is now, it is round number 12, and we are down in Kitchen, Des. It's never an easy one to attack onto, and BDS, they're going to make it absolutely no simpler for CYCLOPS here, and as you say, above all else, you know, they have given us some fantastic entertainment. There's going to be plenty of their kills in the replay package at the end of this tournament, Des.
Oh god, yeah. Looking at the Kai being brought along, by the way, it's a good thing they did 6-pick into Thatcher, no doubt part of the inspiration for it. If nothing else, it shouldn't be one of those things that impede you right until the dying seconds of the round. You find yourself having to work your way around an electrified wall that you can't quite easily deal with. You have to spend time on the second floor being able to clear things out from above, for example. They can look a little more direct to the site if they want to. And there's a lot of pings coming in. I don't know if it's just a please to open this, I really need it open, or if it's a, right, get it open, we're going to go in now and make a push happen. Looks to be more of the former, I think. No real press coming in just yet, but they need this VIP control. They really want to get, I imagine it's BDS sat in there behind a shield, out of that position.
Almost certainly he made a nuisance of himself last time, if you remember, just aggressing out onto those white stairs, taking absolutely tons of damage off Black Ray. He was unable to just close him down and finish him off, but it was still a big pivotal moment of the round. Now out goes the first EMP. That's going to try to deal with some of those ADSs, but I think it's just been picked up. There you go, the second one is picked up as well, and Breeder, he's secure for the time being, but no, it's been worked perfectly. Away goes the utility, in comes the nade. Breeder is really starting to suffer here, Des. He's been putting back to the wall and challenged hard, but Rafal, he manages to support him and get a kill onto Black Ray there, and that is going to leave us 5 versus 4 now, coming up to the halfway point.
Drone just staring as those nades come raining in, trying to catch his death in 4K, but unfortunately it's just a few scratches to the leg, down to about 50 HP. And no doubt for CYCLOPS now, there's still more work to do. They need to be unsettling him out of there sooner rather than later. Half the round has now elapsed, and with Black Ray down, it's advantage to BDS.
Gatorada just moving down to get onto that bottom floor. Now, I'm not sure if BDS are aware of the approach here on Red Stairs, although there we just saw, I think it's Shaiko playing inside a court check. He did flick around. I think he'd heard the Mandes, but he loses the gunfight. A great reaction shot from Gatorada there, doing it for his team once again. But Rafal, he just always seems to be somewhere to get a trade, to get one back, to keep the man count in BDS's advantage. Finds himself 55 seconds, and time is running out here. Breeder looks for the long challenge onto Anaton, shut down by Rafal from the bar, serves him up something that he just doesn't want. There's now Suzuki, he aggresses in and gets himself 40 seconds.
They've managed to bring it back. Yep, 40 seconds remain in a 2 versus 2. Alems, who's been doing God's work all map. Renshiro, a couple of great rounds himself. We've got it all to do here. Sees the head, can't quite land the shots. Gatorada's going to chase him. Finds one. It's a triple for him in the round. A 2 versus 1. Suzuki's found it, and we're going to overtime. The dream doesn't end here for CYCLOPS.
CYCLOPS still fighting hard, and they are going to overtime. They now have 3 more rounds in which to save themselves. The first team to win 2 rounds will take the matchup. CYCLOPS, Cafe, overtime. At this point, name a more iconic duo, Des.
8-7 against Empire. Oh my God, imagine if they lose it by that 1 round again. The heartbreak you'd feel after the blood, sweat and tears that have gone into this game against BDS. You would wager that overtime is deserved. That chance to make it happen should be a thing. The problem that I have is that at least here, they're starting off on the attack. Both teams have gone 4-2 in their respective halves so far. If they can do some magic here, and maybe the magic is in the Ying pick. We saw BDS try and make it happen. It wasn't very successful. They haven't got a Warden. They haven't got a Wamai. It's just the Jaeger. They could make this work, assuming they catch BDS off guard.
It's going to be a top floor defense to begin with, and you just feel that BDS do come in here with an advantage. It's been 4-2 each time to the defenders, so you would expect with BDS starting on the defense that they do have that slight advantage. But that being said, we have seen good attacking rounds coming out of CYCLOPS, but interestingly, back in round 10, CYCLOPS were able to win this top floor site on the attack.
Can they do it again is the big question. That was one of the chaotic ends where it was the 1 versus 2 for Alems, wasn't it?
Yes.
Very similar to a round that we saw in the first half, where it was a bit of a mad flurry in the 1 versus 2 to try and turn the round back around. It couldn't quite be done. Here, maybe it can be.
There was a Suzuki 4K as well. Suzuki did everything. He got the diffuser down, he got a 4K.
They've had quite a good number of multi-kills in this round, actually, when you look down the board. In fact, the last 3 rounds of regulation, Suzuki with a 4K, Iagator with a 3K, Gatorada with a 3K. Also in the same round, in case you're curious, Rafal did get a 3K, but they didn't walk away with the round win, despite even getting the opening kill in that round. Stats don't always suggest who's going to walk away the victor, ladies and gents. And in this case, we'll see how it plays out once we start looking in towards the site.
A great performance from CYCLOPS, there's no two ways about it. We keep saying it, but they can certainly walk away from this matchup and from the tournament one way or another, whether that be at the end of the groups or whether that be in the playoffs. They can walk away very proud of the performance that they've put forward. They've been very entertaining. They've been a breath of fresh air in many ways in the tournament, doing things in different ways and showing us new methods and techniques of getting in and winning these rounds. Unfortunately for them, it didn't start a little bit sooner, so it all comes down to this final match. Breeder, he's going to take the option to get down through that cigar hatch and just allow himself out of there. The pressure was mounting from that red hatch, the red stairs drop. So Gemini taken down, and the drops do come in. Black Ray's got himself in there. He's looking to push into cigar. 1 minute 30 Des, and unsurprisingly, I think, fairly tame so far.
To begin with, they want to make sure this is going to work, and I thought for a few seconds we might see a Na'Vi-esque execute. I remember from their game against Secret and EUL, they had the kind of skylight drop behind a ton of smokes, for example, and managed to pull it off, not even a single kill being returned either direction until the plant was down on the ground. It was a little bit mental, so I'm thinking here that they might have tried something similar, but it turns out not to be the case. It's been very static for a couple of minutes, mind you. More just getting the feel out. The first Candela coming singing through, but nothing really happens. No one going for too bold a push just yet. You got Alem playing below. If he knew someone was above him right now with that C4 in hand, this could be a different conversation that we're having, but he's just waiting to see what happens. There comes the drop, C4 out straight away by Rafal. They've got them from below. Iagator bringing one back, 4 versus 3. Brede doing work onto Suzu C, and now in a 4 versus 2. I don't see how Iagator and Gadarada can bring this one back, Tim, especially when the diffuser's cold on the ground out in no man's land.
I would be very surprised, but that is the first step if they are going to do it. Iagator finds a kill onto Rafal, and Gatarada comes dropping in from the skylight there. Huge damage taken. However, Gatarada has to make the challenge. Ranchero manages to finish off one. Elems gets the second. BDS takes the first defensive round there. I'm just afraid, Des, CYCLOPS didn't quite learn the lesson. They've been hit with that nitro from below before, and they've not gone in and cleared out the mid floor. They know that BDS like to play there.
A little bit too focused on the top floor for sure. That round ending made me laugh when you got the Iana whipping out the Gon 6. It's Corey time, ladies and gents. For those of you who maybe missed it in EU, it was a 1 versus 1. The plant was going down from Uno. The clock hit 0. And Corey, he ran out of bullets in his primary weapon.
He ran out of everything.
Was gone,
he didn't have any secondary, I don't think, either.
He had the Gon 6 ace. What did he do? He whipped out the Gon 6. He rushed out the garage door. He fired the Gon 6. Uno came off the plant. Rogue won the round.
It was an unbelievable.
It was sheer madness. I got no idea. Like, mistakes happen, right, is the way that we talked about it at the time. These things do happen. Players aren't flawless, despite what those of you in the chat may think about Shaiko. For example, he has had a rough game so far, fair to say. A lot of this going on to the likes of Renshiro and Alems to do the hard work for them. In fact, the whole gang's starting to get involved as Rafale is a kill away from hitting double digits too. It's good to see that it is truly a team effort.
It is. I'm certain that Shaiko will turn up. Absolutely.
He turns up when it matters, and playoffs is all of next week.
Exactly that. I'm absolutely certain that he will turn up huge. I mean, he's certainly not played badly so far. He's not having the best day today, but all in all, he's had some vital contributions to this BDS side so far, and I'm certain that we're going to see that grow and grow as we head into the playoffs next week. But for the time being, there is a match to be finished here. It is 7-6. BDS have the advantage. One more round will be the win, and it will send CYCLOPS out of the tournament. Cloud9, of course, will survive. However, if CYCLOPS can fight back, there's no more mistakes nowadays. There are no more errors. This is as important as it gets. These next 2 rounds, they have to win them back to back. They are defending here, and this is the first one for them to lock down.
Suzu C rocking the Supernova once again. Silent Supernova at that, I think it was earlier on that we saw. Whether or not he'll go Supernova in this round is a different question on the Yokais. They're the ones that you're looking to make a pretty big impact. What a surprise for CYCLOPS. They're back up to the old tricks once again, playing out on their own. C4 in hand. Are they going to throw it over? Yes, they are. They're still going to be present. Yes, they are.
What a kill!
Goodbye to KB. Goodbye, Rafal, and goodbye to your phone calls. You're all out of credit. Let's go get a top up on that one. 5 versus 3 for CYCLOPS, and it's like the first half was just last round because they're having an absolute field day terrorizing BDS.
Absolute pinpoint accuracy from Gatorada there. Recognising that the Kaibi was on the drone and unlikely to know that anything was coming their direction or to move, and to also hit that throw so beautifully. That was chef's kiss. Chef's kiss to that.
Chef's kiss, a big mwah to that one, absolutely. It's beautiful. Even the chefs here at the hotel probably couldn't cook up something that utterly delicious. 5 versus 3 though. Let's see if BDS can do anything to swing back into it. At a numbers disadvantage like this, you tend to say no. And there are still 2 C4s hanging on the other side. It's a 5 versus 2. It's actually scary how good they look defensively on this map.
2 versus 4 as Brede manages to find one back onto Suzuki with a headshot, but there is still a lot of work for BDS to do here if they want to get this finished before round 15. It's looking pretty good for CYCLOPS now to take this the distance. The problem that they're going to have is that final round is on attack, where they have struggled for wins. Now BlackRay, he dips away from the challenge there, takes a couple of shots, he's got the nitro in hand, but he's right to hold on to it for the time being. Renshiro just dipping himself away, but Ayagator will find Brede, and it's now 1 versus 4, and we're almost certainly going the distance here, Des. We're almost certainly going to that 15th and final round. Cloud9's anxiety could not be extended any further, Des.
C4. Oh, a bit low. Not really quite right position to bring him down, but either way, he's in a 1 versus 4. Yes, BlackRay's got nothing. He finds one. Surely Renshiro can't do it all with about 3 HP to his name and a dream of getting BDS out of this hellish nightmare right here and right now. But with 30 seconds left on the clock, something tells me that's simply not going to be the case.
CYCLOPS just need to sit exactly where they are now. They don't want to push, they don't want to peek. Renshiro's almost banking on that. He's waiting for one of them to show themselves, and 30 seconds is an awfully long time at the end of a round of Siege, but CYCLOPS, they just need to hold on to their hats and just wait. Just wait for Renshiro to push in, because if he doesn't, he loses. It's as simple as that, and they don't need to push or pressure this. They've got the round that they needed. That takes them into the final round, as it's going all the way to 15 once again, and it comes down to 3 minutes. CYCLOPS have 3 minutes to save their spot in the Six Invitational.
Oh boy, another 15-rounder on Cafe, starting the day with 1, ending the day with 1, at least in the case of CYCLOPS. We do still have one more game after this one to go, but this is definitely one way to lock in who goes home and who stays. Imagine knowing that the pressure that must now exist on you if you're these members on CYCLOPS. You've had a fantastic defensive game, you've made a real name for yourself, and definitely done yourself proud. But knowing it all comes down to one single attacking round, where you have struggled somewhat against the defense coming out of BDS, the pressure that must be there, knowing that there's a flight with your name on it in 2 days' time, or potentially in a week and a half's time, depending on the outcome of this round, it must be mortifying.
Very, very difficult, I'm sure, to play under that sort of pressure, Des, and the fact that we don't see more mistakes and errors coming out. I'd be an absolute dithering wreck if this was me at this point, and, you know, such an important tournament rode on that one performance. It must be very difficult, and it speaks volumes for the players on CYCLOPS and their ability to deal with that mental pressure. It is extremely impressive, as they have been throughout this tournament. They really have been a fantastic team to watch. So will we get to see any more of them? That is now the question. We're heading in towards the action phase. It is running quickly in that direction, and this time BDS will be defending the reading room.
CYCLOPS are screaming, give me your energy, raise your hands to the sky. Of course, it can only be a Japanese team that needs it in this moment. I know tons of you are cheering them in chat. You're screaming behind every single kill that they find in this game. It all comes down to this, the final 3 minutes for CYCLOPS, or something that leads to something far better in the next week. Every kill is going to be essential. Looking out towards the other side, only the 2 frag grenades in this round, so it's not going to be a frag palooza coming through from frag grenades, because there is an ADS or set of ADSs on the other side coming out of Shaiko. Otherwise, again, it's leaning in towards this Mute and Mozzie setup, something that BDS have turned to time and time again in their defensive hearts, is to block away the intel coming out of the other side to try and slow CYCLOPS down. And you look across the bands again as a quick reminder for CYCLOPS, the Nomad and the Malusi, all of that targeted towards saying, let's play a nice, rapid game of Siege. They want the pace, but without the information, that can really slow you down.
1 minute in and no opening kill yet. Still 5 versus 5. CYCLOPS playing very aggressively underneath that red stairs hatch for the time being. The Gemini drone comes in. He makes the challenge, knowing likely that it was the decoy, but that will give away his position. Anaton finds him with the kill. 5 versus 4. Advantage CYCLOPS. There's nearing the halfway mark. There's still work to be done here to clear out the top floor, and that has been the problem for them when attacking this site previously, has been getting everything done with enough time to be able to push onto site without it being a massive rush. And Renshiro, he's a bit of a linchpin of this defence right now.
I feel like we've got so excited about every time a round has gone to 5 versus 4, but we know how back and forth it can go. Now I imagine at this point Cloud9's waterfall has turned into something torrid like a maelstrom. Seeing how this is playing out, it's 4 versus 3 for CYCLOPS. There is still 75 seconds and a LEMS, the big fragger on the side of BDS this game, the one who has dragged them through many a rough round ending, is off the field, Ace.
Alligator just looking to push in, clearing utility as he goes. So CYCLOPS still working hard to get top floor control, but still don't have it. Gatarada going to move in, lost his drone to a mute jammer there. He will take the jammer out and now be able to use his drone again. So the top floor clearance continues, Des, but with 45 seconds left to go, it's becoming a bit of a concern. Halted once again, and it's just a perfect example of how the mute and Mozzie work in combination, now forcing CYCLOPS to face check every angle, and I'm worried about them, Des. I'm worried about them as Renshiro finds a headshot onto Alligator. 3 versus 3, 30 seconds, and they need to get a move on.
Absolutely. When you know the numbers are coming down to this, the time becomes the 4th man for BDS. They know that with all this impediment going on the top floor, they've got to step forward, and they've got to step forward now. 2 C4s still sat with BDS. Could they be the difference maker? Because you've got Renshiro still sat at the back. Gatarada, he's got to step forward and go for this challenge right now. He's looking the wrong way. They find one, but it's traded back elsewhere. They've got to make the plan happen. He drops down, but they've found it all. BDS are going to end the Japanese dreams right here and now. Cloud9 go through to playoffs, but my God, if it wasn't heart-wrenching every single step of the way.
And that is the end of the story for CYCLOPS, Des. And I don't know about you, but personally I'd like to extend my appreciation to CYCLOPS for the contribution that they've made here at the Six Invitational. Boy, have they entertained us. They have given us some of the emotional, heart-wrenching moments of the day as they got close against Empire. They got so close again against BDS, and that is a bitter pill for them to swallow, I'm sure. It is not easy for them to lose those games, not easy for them to go home, but you should have your heads held high, guys. You've done absolutely brilliantly, and you have really played your part here at the Six Invitational, and I think you'll take a lot of new fans away with you as well.
I mean, think about it. If you've enjoyed watching them, APAC Stage 2 kicks off in June. Why wouldn't you be tuning in? And for these boys, like you've just said, it's going to feel horrible for the next 2 or 3 days, especially when you see Cloud9 walking out onto the stage knowing you could have been there if one round went differently. That's where it's really going to hurt, but take that as power for Major for the next SI when it comes around. I can't wait to see, because their journey has really only just begun. A really slow 2020, a good start to 2021, almost beating BDS and Empire, losing 8-7 to both teams on Cafe on their final day of the tournament. Stories like that don't come along every single day. Let's go to a break. When we come back, Kix and Tero are going to break down what has been a heartbreaking defeat for CYCLOPS.